Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we've got a really interesting show today, and an important show because I know that you've been involved with TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program with Bonnie Carroll, and you have met some fabulous people there, and I know one of them that holds your heart is the son of the couple we're going to have on today.
Donn Weaver, and he's an incredible guy. I met him in 2011. His brother Todd died while in Afghanistan. And Glenn not only is there to help himself, he gives back to the other siblings. He's there for the other siblings. And, you know, he's just a lifeline to so many out there who don't know how they're going to survive. And he and Todd were very close, so I'm really excited to have his parents on the show today.
Thank you so much for being on, and also thank you for the service that you've done and that your children have done for this country. Now, Donn, I know you're really proud of Jeanne as an artist and all the wonderful work she's done. Before your son was killed, you were an artist.
The series itself is spiritually 21 paintings.
And Todd was an amazing person, I have to say. He was a hero. He died a hero, and he was a hero in so many ways. Before he died, he was a really outstanding guy.
Yeah. His sister, in the eulogy that she gave at the celebration of life, one of the things that she said is, he was always my hero. And there were so many people who felt that about him. He was everyone's best friend. He was a magnet towards people and friendship, and he was wonderful. We came up with a quote very early on, and it is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says,
"It's not the length of life, but the depth."
The depth of life, and that's the way Todd was. Every day, he lived it to the fullest.
From my perspective, the most important thing for me to do was to lead the family. As the senior survivor, he had to do things to honor his legacy. Within 10 days of his death, I convinced the family, who did not want to come originally, to go to a high school football game where his jerseys were retired and a scholarship announced. 10 days.
Absolutely.
So you're leading the family, and Jeanne, talk about you as an artist.
At first, when Todd died, I wasn't thinking of painting or anything about it. My studio closed, and it was dark. Kids had all decided on different things that they were going to do, and I suddenly piped in and said, "What am I going to do?" And they said, "Well, Mom, you're going to paint." and I thought, no, just ugly pictures came into my mind, fire and ugliness and sadness, and I thought, how can I do this? But then I began to listen to the words that were being said by his friends and other people, and those particular words brought paintings into my mind.
Wow.
And I just really felt like I was guided through the entire process of painting 21 paintings in 1 year's time.
That's incredible. If somebody told you, would you please paint 21 paintings?
Some of these canvases are really large too.
Wow.
But that was basically, I painted 7 days a week, 8, 10, 12 hours a day.
Now, what was the first?
The first were his shoes and his boots that came back from Afghanistan.
And then in between,
these shoes, his cleats, I had no idea that we had. And it was just about a week before Thanksgiving, and I had decided that we would have a family Thanksgiving. And the year before, when Todd was there, we had had 31 people to our house, family, for Thanksgiving, and I had decided we would do it again, that Todd would want us to have the Thanksgiving. So I headed up to the attic to be able to find those things that I needed to be able to put on this huge Thanksgiving. And suddenly, on a box were these cleats. I have no idea why they were there. And they were just filled with mud and dirt, and I remember cradling them in my arms and taking them downstairs and putting them on a bench, a stool in the kitchen. Well, we had Todd's dog, Tundra, and I left the door open so that Tundra could go in and out. And Tundra came into the house and she grabbed one of these and she ran outside with it. I mean, obviously she smelled Todd. And I was so upset because it began to rain and the mud was drizzling off of them. But it was this experience which caused me to then want to paint the three the 3 pairs of shoes.
Wow.
You did
These
that?
3 I did together.
How was it? Did you just cry the whole way doing it?
I cried through all 21 paintings. I painted to music, but the entire experience was so therapeutic to me, and it was almost like going into a meditative state throughout the whole
Now,
thing.
one of the pictures I thought was really interesting was the one where they came to tell you that he died, and the doorbell rang and you didn't know, and you could see somebody through the window.
And that's, of course, what art does. It does help you, just like music. So I was using both music and art to be able
Do you
to
know
get through
what
it.
comes up for me is when you do a picture or when you write a description of what happens, they say that it kind of takes it out of your mind and you're able to put it down on paper and you know it's there, so you don't have to keep replaying it to make sure you
Exactly.
remember it the right way or whatever.
Exactly.
It's kind of there, and now you can have peace
Exactly, and
around
that's
an
what
event.
that's exactly what happened. And I mean, the one painting that I did of the pomegranates was a pomegranate orchard.
Wow.
Is where he died, and actually I wasn't sure. I sort of had a feeling about this, and later on his commanding officer said, yes, that's exactly what happened. But I mean, I would just be nauseous if I saw pomegranates. I couldn't be close to them until I said, okay, I'm going to paint this painting.
Right.
And then it was fine. With each painting, I waited until I could do something that was deserving of Todd. You know, they needed to be beautiful, beautiful paintings, and the very best that I could do because they represented Todd. These were 3 items that I had to ask Emma if I could borrow, you know, in order to paint them, because these were 3 items that came back from Afghanistan that Todd had worn in Afghanistan, and I felt like I really needed to do that.
It's just been so fabulous having you on.
Thank
I
you
feel
for
so
having us.
honored.
Thank
I
you.
thought, I just prayed that I'd be able to do you service on this show.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Thank
And
you so much.
Todd is doing as much in his death as he did in his life to change the
People
world.
have not
That's
forgotten.
right.
Absolutely.
Thank
No.
you so much again
Thank
for being
you.
on.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching this show today. And Heidi and I always want to remind you, if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.